So we'll create an example or a Java Swing GUI that will simple login form, okay, and that will validate the correct username and the password. Okay, so we will be opening a we'll be opening NetBeans. Okay, I believe you can see in my screen. Okay. Okay. So we'll be creating a project and ayaw pala niya mag-ano. Hindi niyo makita na naka-magnify siya. Ayaw din niya dito. Okay. Anyways, I actually have recorded this. So I'll just share it to you later. Okay, so let's create another example. So sample login. Ayaw kasi niya mag-magnify if I will use a magnifier. So ito na lang ako sa code. Palakihin ko na lang. Okay, and as I mentioned, no, when we create a class, it will create a main class, no, and let's just clean the main class, and we'll go back to it later, and then we'll add we'll add a form in our project sample login. Okay, a Swing GUI form, JFrame form. And let's call it as login. And so I'll put labels on it. So simple label for password, username, and password. So palakihin ko na lang. Gawin ko siyang 24. Yeah. And for JLabel 2, password. Ito din siyang 24. Okay. For buttons and 2 buttons. For JButton 1, this will be login. And I will also make it 24 on text. For JButton 2, this will be clear. And I will also change it to 24. Okay. So I will also put text field so that the user can input the username, his username, and password. Okay. So empty lang siya. So this will be JText field 1 and another text field for password. Sorry. For password, we will not be using JText field because there is a GUI component that is a password field. Okay, if you can see here in the right part in the palette, there is a password field on the Swing control. So we'll be using password field so that it will only display itong parang black dots instead of the actual text when typing. Okay, so the name of it is JPassword field 1. So let's make it as empty string lang. Same with JText field 1. Let's make it 24 also so that malaki siya. Okay. Sige. Okay, so this is just a simple form lang muna. I'll just change the JFrame title to login form. Okay. Ayaw kasi niya mag-magnify. I don't know why. Wait, I will try to share my entire para makita niyo siya. I'll try to share my entire screen. Just check kung Mag-magnify dyan siya. Ayan. Ayan. Magnify na siya. Okay? Sige. So this will be our form. This is our properties na just make sure that you will explore the properties na of each GUI component na properties, especially on the design, no? So you can change it. So ito yung palette. I believe I have already discussed some parts of it, and some controls here and menus or the containers are actually assigned to you as the topic for your midterm exam. Okay, so let's go back here. We'll be putting codes on our button. Okay, so for login, double click yung login, and then the action perform, as I mentioned in the video, it is the method for it will, when the button or the GUI components is triggered, kung maklik siya, maselect siya, that will be the codes inside the action perform will be executed. So kung maklik ang button 1, which is the login button in our case, the codes inside the action perform of the button 1 will be executed. So what we're going to do now is we will just check the entered, we will get the entered text first in our, what do you call this? In our text field and password field. So string is equal to jtext field 1 dot get text. And then for the password, string pass is equal to, J malaki yung T, and then J password field 1 dot get text. Okay, so that means we can now get whatever entered na value in our string, in our user and password field. So I just want to print it in our input output stream, in the console stream, to get ano yung nasa password and nasa username. Okay, so I will just print it here para meron lang tayong basis if correct ba yung nasa, later we will validate kasi. Okay, yeah. So let's go back with our main class. Our main class here is the sample login.java. So let's go back here. Let's make sure that we can run the login form. So our name of our form is login. So what we're going to do here is login. So let's say log is equal to new login. So what I'm going to do here is to basically instantiate an object of the login form so that you can manipulate it and set it to visible. So log.set visible. Pwede din show or pwede din set visible true. Okay? So let's try to run our form by executing the entire project. Okay. So this is our code, our form. So Mark Van, let's see. So what I entered is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll press login. I'll just check if nakuha niya yung, ayan. So nakuha niya na whatever entered in our password field will be printed using the .get text method for our password field, which is the same with JText field. So I'll just close this. And what we're going to do next is we will put code on our clear. Okay, so you just double click clear to open up the action perform of our, of our clear button. Okay, so jtext field 1 that set text into empty string, and then J password field into set text also into another empty string. Okay, para lang siya ma-clear. Okay? Okay, so let's proceed with our purpose no is to validate what the entered username and password should be the same.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Nai-error ang katong kwan, sir. JPass pa sa baba, sir. Tama ba?
Ano yun?
May error, sir. Sa baba.
Sam?
May error sa baba, sir.
Walang error.
Wala. Sorry. Malikutan.
Ay, ayan. Tama pala si Sam. Password field 1. Ayan. Tama, Sam. Thank you, Sam. Wow. Okay. Password field 1. Wala din ako. Diretso ko sa taas. Thank you, Sam. Okay. So, next is we'll validate no kung our correct ba yung entered na username and password. So, before we do that, we need to define first the actual or the real username and the real password. So where can we define that? We usually define it in our attributes. Diba sa creating your own class, the attributes are declared after the class declaration. So dali na to siya i-declare after the class declaration. So this is the class declaration nato, no? The public class login extends javax.string.jframe. So we will declare the attributes there, which is for the private string str username, and then private string password. Okay? And then we will make use of another constructor. So we will just copy the constructor here, and then another constructor will basically will basically accept the username and then the password. So I'll just write string str and then string u na lang. String u equals to string p. Okay, for the string u and string p will be for the password. The u is for the username. Okay. And then once makuha na yung U and P, so we will store the U to username variable, and then the password to P, the P to the password variable. So the correct, the real username and password now is stored in the username and password. So remember, this is a constructor. This needs to be instantiated in our main class. So let's go back on our main class here. This is our main class. Ayan. So in our main class, sa pag-instantiate na to sa main class, is we will put arguments in our in our object creation here in the new login. So we will put the correct username and password. So I will write Mark Van and then comma 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yan. So example lang yan. So the first argument is for the U, and the U will be stored in the username. And then the second argument is the P, and the P will be stored in the password attribute. So let's go back in our frame code. So ayan, no, na-save na siya. Upon creation of the login form, it will call this constructor na may dalawang string variable, the U and P. And the U will be stored in the username, the P will be stored in the password. So this username and password variable is our real or the correct username and password. So this will be our basis to compare whether in our JText field 1 and JPassword field 1 is actually the same with the correct username and password. So how to do that? We will okay. I will ask you, okay, what statement that we will use in order to compare whether the enter JText field 1 and JPassword field 1 is the same or equal to the username or and password. Anyone who can answer? What statement in Java to use to compare kung tama ba or equal ba ang JText field 1 and password field 1 with the correct username and password?
Boolean ba, sir?
Okay, Franz, ano yun?
Boolean bang gamiton na?
Yes, pwede Boolean, but Boolean is not a statement. It is a data type.
Okay.
But tama ka, partly correct. Yes.
If else, sir, delete.
Yes, Miss Anro. So if else is the appropriate statement. So if else, it will test the Boolean comparing it true or false ba. So Boolean magyapon siya. Okay, so I will add points to Anro plus 3 points and kay Franz plus 1 point. Okay. Sige. Let's go back here. So we will, if else, we will use if. So ang atong if dira is the JText field 1. We will make use, remember the string class na, sige. I will ask you, what is the appropriate method to compare whether the JText field 1, the user string, kung asa tong JText field 1, kung sa'y correct na method or appropriate na method para i-compare ang string user sa katong correct na username variable. So what string method to use para ma-compare ang user string variable and the username variable? Anyone? Wala. Remember the string class, there are many methods there. So what is the correct method in order to know or compare kung the same ba ang user and ang username na variable string?
Ito lang greater equals
Yes, Kit. So greater and equal imong answer.
Oh, try lang.
Okay, thank you. It's not appropriate to use that one. Yes,
Compared to
yes, Sam.
compared to
Okay, compared to. Thank you, Sam. So compared to is okay, no? You can still use it, pero napay mas appropriate na
To string, sir.
Yes, Tai Chi.
To string.
To string. To string method is to convert an integer or double to string. So dili siya for comparing. So si Sam is, tama man siya, Sam. I'll give you 1 point for that. But compared to is not the most appropriate. Para other answer.
Equals lang, sir.
Christopher.
Kanang sir, compared to ignore case.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. We will not use ignore case. Remember, this is a password and username. So, dili na to siya ignore case. We don't ignore the case kay dapat the same man good jud siya. Kung naka-capital letter, the same dapat siya capital letter. Okay, Richie.
Equals lang, sir.
Okay, thank you, Richie. That is correct. So, Richie, tama man po to. I'll give you plus 3 points on that. So, si Richie said equals. So, we will use equals. Okay? So compared to is okay, pero dagan pa mo siya, ang iyang output is integer, but the equals output is true or false, or the boolean. So we'll just use equals, and then user that equals, and then username is the actual variable, no, the actual attribute. So atong i-compare ba kung the same ba ang user that equals and username. Okay? And then next will be, we will put and. Okay? So, wait lang. Text. So mag-prepare lang akong string text, no? Okay, string text will be sa string text 1, login successfully. Okay, prepare lang ko that. And then string text 2, username and password are incorrect. Okay, so text 1 if successful siya, text 2 is if not successful. So aside sa user that equals and username, we will still need to compare the password. So dapat ano, 'di ba? Dapat the same ang username o the same po password. Dili man pwede, di man ka ma-login nga the same ang username pero incorrect ang password. That is not successful for login. So we have what we call as Boolean operator back in programming 1, na isumpay na to, or we will combine the two Boolean terms for two terms, no, for Boolean. Combine na to siya. Na the comparing of the username and password kay dapat true ang duha. Okay? So that these three Boolean operators are the or, the and the not. Okay? Remember mani, the or, the and the not. Okay? So which of these three is the most appropriate para sa ato ang if statement na condition, which is dapat the same ang user name, the same po dapat ang password. So the or, the and the not. Who will answer? Kinsa to nag-answer?
Agad.
Yes, Kit, that is correct. So the
Asik, agad asik.
ay kinsa
Si
di
Tai Chi to si Tai Chi.
si Tai Chi. So si Tai Chi is correct. So I'll give you 3 points on that, Tai Chi. Okay, so let's go back here. So this will be and. Where is that? And then pass that equals password. Okay, so if equals siya, so we will just so since magamit tag J option, no, so we will need to import. Don't forget to import the javax, no, javax.swing. Import javax. So we will just make use of the J option pane that show message dialog, and then null. Tapos we'll just print the text. Okay? So the text 1 rather. So kung the same siya, kung true ni siya, then true ni siya. So it will print the user, the text 1, which is login successful. So else na lang ta diretso dire. No need to put else if, because if any of this is false, automatic sa else na siya. So we will put, instead of the text 1, it will display the text 2, which is username and password are incorrect. Okay? So let's try to execute our code. Yeah. So, I will try to malion sa nako siya, no? So, let's say, Mark lang ang username and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, if I will click login, it will display username and password are incorrect. So, kasi our username na defined the username is Mark Van, then our entered na username is only Mark. So, mali siya. So, let's try to clear again. So, I'll try Mark Van and then incorrect ang password. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lang. So, I'll click login. Ayan, mali pa rin, no? Because based on our if statement, dapat naka-and man siya. So, dapat the same ang username and password. Okay, so I will try to correct it, no? So, Mark Van and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, plug in. Ayan, log in successfully. So that means this is our other example of our simple Java Swing GUI. Any questions?
Sir, naka-record tayo, sir.
Yes, naka-record siya.
Thank you, sir.